Hey everyone, this is Adrian with another release for Avo 3. Today we're releasing 3.3. We've got a couple of things to talk about, so let's just get into it. So we'll scroll down to this big long list and talk about the refactors. We refactored a file name before in our Tailwind CSS integration. Before it was called tailwind.css, which might get into conflict with other files you might have. And now it's called avo.tailwind.css and no more conflicts. Next, enable no params in cards. So I built this solid QUI, which I'll talk about a little bit later in this video. And the gist was I was doing a redirect inside the card and it was not working because it was requiring some params, but now it is working and that's just a better experience. Move tags field to the community tier. Yes, we've done this. We've done a few things which I'll talk about. We've moved a few things around when we launched Avo 3. One pro feature moved to the advanced and many pro features moved to the community package, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is one of those things. We moved the tags field to the community tier, so the tags field is now free. Move scopes from pro to advanced. This is something that we forgot. The scopes were always an advanced feature, but we mistakenly published them into pro packages. Now it's properly in their place. Next to maintenance, you'll see many things. We added deb-foo to basically keep our dependencies up to date. So tags field in the community tier, again, this was not supposed to be here. Sanitize key value field content. Yes, our friends from Green Hats raised this advisory, which basically said that the key and value fields were not properly sanitized in the key value field. Now they are, so it's just a safer world all around. What else? Testing Ruby 3.3, we added it to our CI. Check Tailwind CSS, okay. So now we're running some custom tests on the Tailwind CSS integration whenever we merge a PR, just to make sure that everything still works and still works properly. What else? This is another one related to that. Okay, so that's about it for maintenance. Bug fixes. Set the Z index for navbar to the highest value. Brichard, thank you so much for this. What was happening was we had these, what do you call them, alerts that were popping over the navbar and now they're under it. So it's a better experience. Thank you so much for this. Fix empty resource file bug. Okay, so what was this? Yes. So whenever you were generating a resource and the database connection wasn't okay, or the app couldn't connect to a database, it would fail to create a resource because it couldn't inspect the database to fetch the fields and the columns. And that would leave an empty file behind, and Zeitwerk would complain and the app wouldn't boot up and you couldn't do anything until you deleted that file. Now this is fixed. Thank you so much, Rock Khalil. Thank you so much for this. It's just a better experience all around. Fix default overriding value when creation fails. Yeah, so this was related to the default. Yes, sometimes the default, whenever a validation error would occur, the default would override the value, I think, but now it does not, so that's fixed. Actions download. Okay, so the actions have been, let me just move this over. The actions have been reworked a little bit. Before we were responding sometimes with turbo responses and sometimes with regular HTTP responses, but now we are only responding with turbo responses, and basically may download file is deprecated. You may remove it from your action files. It will use a different type of a response when you're downloading a file, because in Action sometimes you want to redirect and sometimes you want to download, and because we are using two different types of responses, that wouldn't work properly, but now it just works. Bad navbar display on Firefox. Okay, what is this all about? I fixed it, but I can't remember what I did. Oh, okay. Yeah, my friend Yaro from Super Rails sent this in, so thank you, man. There's a bug with object fit cover in Firefox, or it just does it differently, I don't know. And whenever you would go into a smaller mobile viewport, the search and the title might have been hidden. They're actually somewhere around here, they're not hidden, but you know, now that's fixed. Invalid datetime, yep. This was an edge case whenever you were using an datetime field within a panel or a tab, and it was a little bit maybe hidden away until somebody clicks something, it would show an invalid datetime error. But now it will not. Remove status field defaults and fix neutral state. Yep, again, our friends from Green Hats came around and showed us that we made some mistakes. So before we were defaulting our loading when and failed when to some values like waiting and running or failed, and that would cause some unwanted artifacts. For example, in the dynamic filters, let me show you. In dynamic filters, whenever you would try to use a filter that maybe had a badge, you would get these the options that were defaulted by us inside this picker, but you might not have them in the database, if that makes sense. So basically, you see waiting here, but you never have waiting in your database. So now that's fixed. So so before, if you were relying on these waiting and running or failed by being there by default, now you just have to add them to your field. So you add them like let's choose a simpler one, a simpler project. Okay, so basically you'd say field status as status, and now you'd say loading when, and you have to say to add waiting. So this will not be added by default, and neither will running or failed. And another bug, we were defaulting neutral when to a nil value, but actually we were supposed to default it to an empty array. So yeah, bug fixed. Thank you so much, guys. Secret key base warning. Yep, this is just a maintenance thing. Tabs persistent when tab name have spaces. This was a bug. The tabs. So we introduced a fix a while back about tabs being persistent on where is it, on subsequent visits. So basically, if you go to one tab here like people, and then you go hit edit, you would still have people selected, but that would introduce a bug. That was a bug introduced whenever it had spaces, and now it's not. It works properly. Stop caching dashboards in production. Yep, this was an ugly bug from us. We were it's actually, yep, we were caching the dashboard manager, which could have actually, lead to some security issues. So basically, if you're doing some, hiding or showing some cards based on the current user, because this was being cached, the first user would basically, set the cards for everybody. So again, if you're using a previous version from Avo dashboards, just update. It's just going to be better and safer. Search cancel button missing label. Yep, ugly thing that was happening. I think it belongs to when the search bar was empty. Now it's not. Don't reset pagination on filter change. I think actually the fix is because the pagination is not reset on filter change. So now it is. Cool, and now let's move on to the features. Remove all scopes. So this is something that we're bringing some improvements to the scopes feature, and so the first one we want to do is remove the all scope. So basically, when you go to one, maybe you don't want this all scope, or maybe you want this to be something else. It's actually all, but it's not the full query. You want something custom. Better sidebar scroll positioning. Okay, so this might be something that you're going to like. So what we're doing, let's take this example. Let's take this page, for example. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll down, hit fishes, and now you'll see that fishes is out of my view, and I'll even make this smaller, and then I'm going to refresh, and again fishes, the sidebar item is out of my view, with the new fix that we pushed, the new feature, it will actually scroll down to the fish. And if you basically, if you want to do this and you scroll up somewhere and you hit edit and you change a page, this scroll bar will maintain its position. Okay, so it will maintain its position. So whenever you do go to a fish, it's not going to jump like this. It's just going to maintain it back for you. So it's a nice, cool life improvement. Next, what next? Close modal. Okay, what is this? Yeah, we're adding so many things that we forget what we worked on for the past few weeks. Okay, let's check out this video. Okay, yep, I remember. So in an action, you can do a few things. You can respond with a few actions. You can redirect, you can reload, you can respond with success, danger, warn, or info, so you can show different alerts. But you would not be able to just close off the modal. Maybe in this scenario where you added some information to the form, you open the actions panel and then you open an action and you run an action and you just want to do something asynchronously maybe, and then still keep this information so the page is not reloaded for you. So this is a cool addition from Paul. Thank you, man. Delegate missing to view context. Okay, this is something that we should have done for a while. So you remember how from time to time we tell you to, okay, use your helper method or use action view helpers from the view context object. I don't know, maybe in computed fields or visibility or different types. Well, it was because the view context is this like God object where the view is being executed in. To make it just simple, we just delegated everything that was missing, something that wasn't inside that block that we expressly give to you, like the params, the current user. We just delegate to view context, and now you can just use your helpers within these. Let me actually find one view context and say something like dot. So maybe I don't have any examples here. So before we would use something like view context, flash discard. Now we just have to use something like flash because it will automatically run out of the view context. So it's a very good, nice quality of life improvement. Callable scope name and description. Yep, this was missing. Whenever you had scopes and you had to set names, it would just be what you call not dynamic but static names, but now they are dynamic. And this is a great example about what I talked earlier. So inside this block, this is going to be executed, and you want to use this. I wanted to use the sanitize method, which is a helper from Rails, and I couldn't just use it. I had to use view context. I have to use it off of that God object. And now with this new PR, I basically can do this and just remove the full view context. So it's just more natural. It's just more Railsy way of working. And now you can do things like adding counters on scopes, and you can do that on tabs as well. So you can do something like, hey, the scheduled number of jobs, and then you can add a span and you say, okay, query and count, so you can count the number of jobs that are actually scheduled, right? So yeah, this is a very nice addition, and you can do this on tabs as well. Scoped query on scope names and description. Okay, so this is related to the thing that I talked earlier. So you see how we just stumble upon new improvements as we are building things and as we're working more with things. So definitely come with feedback, because I know you've been going into more advanced scenarios yourself. So basically this is a bug. This is actually supposed to be scoped query count. Yeah. So inside the block of the name or description for the scope, you'll get access to a query, and then you get access to a scoped query. And this is the full records query, and this is the records query with the current scope applied. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this here for maybe somebody else to discover. So now you can use this scoped query to figure out exactly how many scheduled jobs there are. There are 10 scheduled and maybe 500 total, right? So this is the scoped query. This is another object that we brought on to that proc. And one of the last ones for today, I think, dynamic filters tags filter. So this is going to be cool. Now you can, so before we had an array filter where you could say add comma separated values. So you could do things like 1, 2, 3 inside this tags inside this field. But now you have the power of Tagify, which powers the tags field, and you can use it to pass suggestions if you need to. So by default, we usually don't do this, but we added this here. So this is this is hidden API. This is private API. You can use it, but it's totally private. We will break it at some point, so take care. So you can use filterable true, and this is going to be supported forever and ever. But you can use filterable and then pass on hash with the suggestions key, and then pass some suggestions. And again, you have access in this block to the resource, so if this is the project's resource, and you can query different suggestions. Maybe go in the database and get all the tags that you want people to use in this dropdown. So this API is going to be, it's private API, and it's going to be changed for sure at some point. So use this at your own discretion. But yeah, this is the new tags filter API. So 1, 2, and you hit apply, and you can you have in a drop down like R, contains, and different things. There is one breaking change that you have to do. You have to take into account is the scopes, because we moved them from one package to another. You have to change the namespace from pro to advanced, and basically you have to go here. This is one scope, and instead of avo pro, you say avo-advanced, and that's about it. Next, there are a few other things. Like I talked about the failed when and loading when states. You have to add them if you have this in your database. And the may download file is deprecated. The may download file option on an action. So let's see if I have one may download file. Okay, so if you had this in one of your actions, you can just remove it. It's all safe. Cool. There is one more thing that I need to remind you about. So I think this is in discussions. Yep, we're removing the avo gem from packager.dev. So if before you had avo with the source pointing to packager, just remove the source and hit bundle update. Please watch this video. These are the instructions. This is everything. We're just going to remove it on January 22nd, which is in about a week or so. Speaking of videos, YouTube this is my, okay. At avohq, we published a new video, so avo 3 new features. Basically, this was a video that I owed you for a long time whenever we released avo 3 back in November. But I just got around to do it, and it's going to talk about all the new features and how you can use them and how cool they are. So check that out, avo 3 new features. You might have noticed that it's been quite a while since we released. We talked about this, about prolonging our release cycle from 2 weeks to maybe 4 or 6 weeks. Well, I think we did about 6 weeks now, but because we had the holidays and everything, I think we'll stick to the 4-week release cycle, just because it gives us more time to actually work on more impressive features. Last time I wrote about us needing trying to bring a new person on the team, and we have found somebody. We got quite a few messages back. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us that you'd like to work with us. And we have one person that's trialing right now. It's just started. We just started trialing this week, and we'll keep you up to date with that. one more thing, don't forget about our deal. So we have this deals page. So for this month we have this starting in January discount. So you know how you let things go in December, maybe you didn't have time to start that new project, but maybe you want to start it, and this is use this coupon code to get 15% discount off the purchase price of the yearly subscription. So it's valid until January 31st. I told you that I'm going to talk a little bit about the solid queue template. So we have this templates page where you can easily add Avo to jumpstart bullet train, and you can even generate the solid queue UI. So you just copy this and you paste it in the terminal in your app, and it will add all of this. You can check out the code, you can check out the repo with everything that's being added. I told you that I'm going to show you the features that moved around. So I talked about all of these new features in my video, and now some features have moved from one tier to another. The only the only feature that moved upscale, uphill, upmarket is show controls, moved from the pro license to the advanced license. But these other features, they just became free. They moved from pro to community. So custom fields, custom tools, and resource tools. So basically everything that was custom before and it was in the pro package, now you can just build it and it's in the community in the free package. The tags field, which we just merged in today. Localization, we had the advanced localization just in the pro feature, but now it's in the community tier as well. Stimulus.js integration and the branding feature. So yeah, we hope you like these, and it will make you build better apps on the community tier. And I have one more announcement for you guys. Me and Paul are working on two major features. Paul is working on the audit logs, which will be our first enterprise feature, our enterprise tier feature. It will not only keep a record of what changes are being done to your records, to your models, to your database models, but also what actions have been run. And it will actually open up the world to, adding more and more actions, like, seen on one record, or, somebody try to edit it. Myself, I'm working on a CLI for Avo, which will do, its first job is going to be linting. It's going to lint, similar to how RoboCop does it. It's going to lint your files. I talked a little bit about this. It's in our new Epic, the developer experience task. It's going to check and scan all your Avo configuration files, like resources and actions and other files, and will try to find mistakes. Like, for example, whenever you are trying to declare a field, if you're trying to declare a field outside the def fields method, it's going to pop out and say, hey, you're not allowed to do that. Whenever you're going to say a field, let's say name as I don't know, I'll say string, because we don't have that field, it's going to say, hey, we don't have that field, you cannot use it. Whenever you're going to try to use a non-existent option, let's say, it's going to pop out and tell you, like, you're not allowed to do that. Whenever you're going to try to use something, here is going to tell you this. So this is one of the first pushes that we're going to do to improve the developer experience with Avo. In the beginning, it was very simple. You just declare a class and you add some field declarations there, and that's all good. But now it just became a little bit more advanced. Like, for example, you have to, whenever you want to add the sidebar, it has to be inside the panel, and sometimes you miss the documentation, or maybe you miss the announcement, and all these things they add up over time. And I hope that this new push, like the CLI, is going to help you build apps faster and help you be less frustrated, because I know how frustrating it is to try to do something and it will just not work, and you don't exactly know why, and you can find in the docs, and maybe we're not available on our Discord and so on. So it's not going to be just a CLI, but it's going to be we're going to build a VS Code extension, maybe an LSP extension. We don't have too much experience with that. If you have experience with that, definitely reach out, because we'd love to do it together. So we want to build like a VS Code extension which will add, you know, a squiggly line or something and tell you like this is the wrong thing and whatever. And then this can be, you know, extracted into a GitHub action that you can run as a linter just to make sure that everything is okay. So, you know, improving the developer experience one step at a time. That's about it for today. It was a long video. That's because there was a big break for Christmas and New Year's and the longer release cycles. I hope you like these new features and fixes, and I hope this gives you a better understanding of where Avo is and where it is going. So yeah, thank you for listening. And you know where to find us, the GitHub repo, the Discord channel, the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel because this will definitely help you keep up to date. And yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the channels. Bye.